All right, welcome back to the Atlanta Child Murders Revisited. It's 23 October, and this is video number 5. So, on our map here, I've established where I was working and where I came in contact with Wayne Williams. And we established the fact that he had his hunting ground, his hunting area, which was the south part of Atlanta. Within this box, approximately Midtown off Peachtree, over to 285, and then down to Kemp Creek Parkway, across from the airport over to southeast Atlanta, DeKalb County, back up to Memorial, and then Memorial back to downtown. This was his killing ground. Now he had a dumping ground here, and in the river here, and then south river down here. But this is where he was hunting, obtaining his victims, doing all that. Now, um, like I said, right in the heart of all of this, right nearly dead center, was his hub of Stewart Lakewood. That's where I encountered him. That's where he told me I was out of my range, out of my territory. I wasn't in America anymore. I was in his territory, his country. And he was right. He was absolutely 100% right. Now let's take a look at where the monster lives. Everybody needs a home, even monsters. I was just watching this latest vampire movie, and even he had his own home, his own abode that he would venture out forward from. So let's take a look at where the monster lived, okay? All right, hold on one second. So this is Penelope right here. And there was a brand new MARTA station that opened up just literally yards away. This is his house. This is the MARTA station. Some of the kids would ride the train and go to his house that way. Most of the time, he picked them up, though. It was easy access right off of I-20. He had easy access straight onto the highway and coming back on the highway after his kills, straight back to his house. Now, in this area, several of the victims lived. So, right over here off Verbena, Latanya Wilson lived approximately here. Right above her lived the later victim, Nathaniel Cater. I personally believe the reason why Nathaniel Cater was killed because he was involved in the recruiting of children. And especially with whatever happened with Latanya Wilson. And that's why he was killed, to silence him. Okay. So what you see is a pattern of killings that occur. And I strongly lean toward it wasn't just Wayne was out of his mind and crazy and just grabbed some kid and strangled him. It was much more systematic. It was much more planned out, thought about, and controlled. Okay. I think that the majority of the killings were executions, killings of the children who had threatened to tell, or Wayne thought would tell about his porn child porn operation that he had going on. This is what I believe. I think all the evidence heavily leans in that direction. Now, I'll go over the reasons later in much more detail, but right there, and then Latanya Wilson was found right over here in this field. Okay. Also, incidentally, this is Frederick Douglass High School, where Wayne Williams went to high school, and also Mayor Lakeisha Bottoms went to high school right there. So she was neighbors with Wayne, but she graduated what in '88, I believe. Wayne graduated in '76, so he was a full generation ahead of her. Right next to Wayne, again, he's right here. Many other children disappeared from this area. Um, Not Yusuf Bell, but excuse me, Joseph Bell disappeared, I believe, right, was it right here? Yeah, right here. Another one, no, Anthony Carter disappeared in this area. Another victim was found right here. So this neighborhood was very, very close. Right here, approximately, is where Jeffrey Mathis disappeared. Okay. So Wayne was right in the area where all this was going on. All right, so let's take a look at the home of the monster. All right, so hold on one second. Sorry, my internet, for some reason, is a little slow. All right, and here we are. Now, anyone who's familiar with the Atlanta child murders recognizes this house. We all remember the hundreds, if not thousands, of reporters camped out in this church parking lot, up and down the street. There were cars coming and going. We also remember the confrontation between Homer Williams, Wayne Williams, the police, and the media, and how Homer Williams, through his influence with City Hall, was able to convince the mayor to have the police push the media down the street here and across the street to the point of almost having them arrested. There were I'm sure there were court cases and meetings before judges and negotiations between members of the news media and their lawyers and the mayor's office and the police, because even though the news media may have been a nuisance, okay, because of the crowds in the neighborhood and the disturbances, the news media had every right to cover the story. Even though Wayne wasn't under arrest at the time, the news media had every right under our Constitution to pursue the story. And that's what they were doing. Now, pursuing the constitutional guaranteed right of freedom of the press sometimes comes across as harassment to the focus of the story, which is what Wayne Williams and his father tried to tried to say. Mary Welcome even went so far as to try to get an injunction against the news media to keep them from discussing Wayne Williams' name at all until he went to trial, which again is a serious violation of the freedom of the press. Thank God they didn't win. So this was Wayne Williams' house here, and let's kind of move in a little bit. We all remember these confrontations with Homer and Wayne Williams stomping around in the front yard. Wayne Williams almost attacking the press. Homer Williams coming out with his camera and stalking the press. We all remember those bizarre scenes. So that happened in May, the end of May 1981, and my world exploded and imploded again. Now, before my eyes, every night on the TV, I saw the monster, the one that stood in front of me as he licked his ice cream and looked at me underneath his glass frames, staring back at me, aggressively, almost going after the media. That same person, that same personality, that mischievous, aggressive personality coming out that I saw 10 months before was now staring at me, and I was staring at him on the TV set for the whole world to see. When I saw Wayne Williams on the TV for the first time, I was of mixed emotion. I was jumping for joy that I was right. I did see him. He is the monster. He was what I thought he was. It's not what my dad said and tried to shut me down. But also, I was terrified. He wasn't under arrest. He wasn't in jail. He wasn't charged with any of the murders. He was still free. And that terrified me. But I wanted to do something. So I went to my parents and I told them, I said, look, this guy that they've identified as Wayne Williams, that is the same guy that came in to my Dipper Dan's ice cream shop last summer, and the reason I quit. You see what he's doing with the media? He's stalking the media. He's chasing them aggressively. That's what he was doing with me. Okay? I wanted to tell the police, look, maybe that kid was one of his victims that I saw. They need to know that what I know, what little I know. My dad immediately jumped up, pushed me back down on the couch, and pointed his finger in my face and said, you're not going to do shit. You didn't see anything. You hear me? You didn't see a damn thing. If I hear or find out that you told anyone about any of this, I will beat your ass. And he pushes his finger in my face and thumps me on my chest with his finger. I will beat your little white ass. No one is to know about what you think you saw because you don't know what you saw. And I'm like, Dad, no, I know that was him. It was definitely him. The glasses, the hair, everything, that was him. We have to tell somebody. And my dad's like, and tell him what? That the serial killer, the monster, came in and got an ice cream from you and scared you? Supposedly, or some other black guy that looks like Wayne Williams came in and scared you? Because how do you know that's the guy? They all look the same, right? And then he went and he took pictures from he took the newspaper and shoved it in my face and said, you swear to me on a stack of Bibles 100% that you can guarantee that's the guy that you saw and maybe we'll talk about it. Because they all look the same to me. You turn on the TV, and then after that, whenever we would go to the mall or whenever we would go someplace in public and we saw black people, he would point and say, "Look, is that Wayne Williams? Look, is that Wayne Williams? Look, is that the guy? Look, is that one of the victims? Is that one of the victims?" And what he was saying started to make sense because in my mind, a lot of them looked very familiar. But the thing I knew, and I didn't fight back and say this, is that Wayne Williams, wherever we went, had a very, very unique. Most of the African American males that I saw were skinny, short afros, no glasses, and weren't pudgy at all. So Wayne had a very, very unique look. That's why I freaked out. That's why I wanted to tell somebody. There were many times that the news would post the phone number for anyone with tips about the Atlanta child murders, even after Wayne Williams came to light, and then even after he got arrested in June, that I wanted to call that number, but I was scared. I was afraid. What if my dad was right? What if I was wrong? What if I was right? What if there were other people involved? Wayne's still running around free. And then even after he got arrested, they said the murders continued, right? I had no way of verifying that. Maybe there were others still out there. Maybe they would find me. My dad is sitting here screaming. He says, "Look, I got to go to work every fucking day. Your mom has to go to work every fucking day. You have to go to school every fucking day for at least the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks until school ended in June 6th. Do you want the media camped out in front of our house right here? Like that you see on TV? You see all that chaos and that craziness? Do you want them following you to school every fucking day? Do you want black people coming up to you, black kids, threatening you because you're accusing this black guy and you're some little white 14, 15-year-old punk? A liar, they're going to call you? It's not going to happen. You're not going to tell shit. You're not going to tell anybody. And he was right, and I got scared. I didn't want the news media following me. I didn't want maybe other conspirators following me and coming after me. So I stayed quiet. I didn't say a fucking thing. Maybe if I had said something, maybe it would have made a difference. Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. All I know is that at the time when I saw Wayne Williams in July of 1980, only half of his victims had been killed. After I saw Wayne Williams, the other half of the victims were strangled, choked to death, garroted, stabbed, beat over the head, their bodies dumped in woods to rot, or dumped in rivers to float down and be found. If I'd said something, would it have made a difference? Would the killings have stopped? Would they have believed me? Would I have lived another day? Would they have connected what I saw with Wayne Williams and arrested him? Was he the only killer out there? Did he have conspirators? Were there other copycat killers? Would they be coming after me next? I don't know. What I do know is I saw Wayne Williams in my Dipper Dan's ice cream shop at the end of July 1980 at Stewart Lakewood. I know that for a fact. I saw him twice. I saw his cars, and it looked like the same station wagon, the white station wagon that I saw in July, was the same white station wagon that he was driving around in now. Now, they tell me that he didn't get that until October, but maybe he had a very similar white station wagon. And I saw him with a little boy who I later was able to put together was Earl Terrell. Now, could it all have been a coincidence? Possibly. I'd say in the realm of probabilities, was it a coincidence? I'd say about 10, 15% probability. Because between the witness statements about the cream colored two-door car, the fact that other people saw, the security guard knew Wayne Williams and saw Wayne Williams with other victims, that other victims disappeared or were seen at within yards of where I was working, preclude the fact that it was coincidence and just another chubby black guy with an afro and very thick Coke bottle glasses driving a white station wagon. When you put all those probabilities together, young 22, 23-year-old African American male with a big bushy afro, scars or acne on his face, big thick Coke bottle glasses. He's got an inner tube, chubby belly. He's wearing flared out collars with a white and black splotch on it. He's driving a white station wagon and he's at Stewart Lakewood. I find the probability is pretty fucking high that was Wayne. The person I saw twice was Wayne Williams, especially that security guard knew Wayne Williams, and I knew the security guard, and the security guard was literally feet away, yards away from where I worked, where he would stand and read his damn books and look around. So I believe I did see Wayne Williams. Despite what my dad convinced me at the time, I believe I did see Wayne Williams. Do I believe that if I told anybody it would have made a difference? I don't know. I don't know. I do know that they had Wayne Williams on a list. They were looking for security guards. And Wayne Williams had been a security guard at a pornography shop, probably the one right there on Stewart Lakewood. There's an article where that pornography shop, gets raided and arrested, the two clerks there. I don't know if it's the same one, but in all likelihood, that was Wayne Williams that I saw. And again, would they been able to put together my statement and what I saw with Wayne Williams? Well, again, and this is one reason why I believe the Atlanta child murders flourished, is because nobody took children's statements seriously. Oh, it's just some fantasy. Oh, he's kind of sketchy and doesn't know what he saw. Only adults who see things are reliable. Children, they're into Superman and comic books and playing hide and go seek, and they don't have a good grasp on reality. They can't tell the difference between black man A and black man B and black man C, especially if they're white. So, in all probability, I would have just been another entry into their tip book that they would have passed over, because I'm certain that if we could get the records released, especially of the tips and the police witness statements and informants, that we would find many people talking about Wayne Williams or someone similar to Wayne Williams, that they never put one and one to make two together. They fucked up. They didn't follow through. They had a lead on Wayne Williams probably before I saw him, and probably after I saw him, through many multiple statements of people, but no one ever said anything. And again, this goes back to why I think, this is my supposition of why Wayne, one of the reasons Wayne was killing people is to shut them up. Either he was being told to shut them up and he was an executioner and a depositor, or he killed them of his own volition. And I think it had something to do with this child pornography ring that was going on at 881 Memorial in Cabbagetown. And like I said in my other videos, that even when I was a kid in junior high, we all heard about and would make jokes about the child pornography ring in Cabbagetown. Anyone who grew up in that time period that's my age will know what I'm talking about. Everyone knew there was some kind of child pornography ring going on in Cabbagetown. And just like that, everyone knew that Wayne Williams was somehow involved in the Atlanta child murders, in the whispers of the neighborhoods, on the streets, amongst the kids. But no one dared do anything. And you have to ask or say anything. Even though it was a $500,000 reward, why didn't anyone say anything? And I think it had something to do with the reason he was killing them. At first, he was getting rid of people he thought that would tell their parents or tell the police about what he was doing and about the child pornography ring. That's what I think. He was executing them, getting rid of people who were informants. He was hunting them. He had already groomed them. They already knew him. He was already paying them. He was already taking pictures of them, molesting them, taking video of them, all kinds of things, grooming them, pimping them out. Who knows? That is what I think is the premise, the main reason for the killings. Did the police know about this after they arrested Wayne Williams and charged him? Did the DA know about this? Did the governor know about this? Did the GBI? Did the FBI? I think they had a pretty damn good idea. Could they prove it? Probably not. They were barely able to prove that he killed him, much less the reason why. Because it's one thing to prove somebody did it. It's another thing to up the ante and prove why they did it. And they were barely holding on. That's why they chose the two adults. They were barely holding on to the fact that he killed the two adults. Now, again, you have to ask your question. There's much more fiber in physical evidence and witness testimony linking Wayne Williams to the children being killed by Wayne Williams than by Wayne Williams killing the two adults. Is it just that he got caught near the bridge and that's where the two bodies showed up close by? Is it just that? Or if you start going after and indicting him, if you start bringing witnesses into a grand jury and regular Joes like you and me start asking questions, what kind of can of worms are they going to open up? They're going to find about this child pornography ring. It's going to explode. It may derail the entire murder investigation. It also may implicate other people don't want to get implicated. The connections between Maynard Jackson and Mary Welcome and Ed Garland and Jimmy Ginn and Michael Thieves sitting in prison right there in Atlanta running his porn operation and his business could open up a whole big ass can of worms when what we can do is just pin the two murders on Wayne Williams because he did do them. I have no doubt Wayne Williams killed every single one of them. Why he did it, nobody knows. My supposition, it had something to do with silencing them because of this child pornography ring that was going on. Look at how Wayne Williams is recruiting people. He's recruiting kids that are called street hustlers. They're called street hustlers because they're selling their body to other older men. They're already involved with the child pornographer down in southeast Atlanta who gets convicted in May. They're already involved with him. They're already involved with Tom Terrell in selling them their bodies for sex. It's not that much of a leap to recruit them into child pornography. Okay? Thieves had a very strong pornography ring that continued long after he went to prison. He fought the interstate commerce federal charges all the way to the Supreme Court and got him thrown out. And he thought that would get him out, but they got him on murdering Underhill, blowing up Jimmy Mays, and shooting Jap Hanna years and years and years before. That was the pretext for the Atlanta child murders. What we have in the Atlanta child murders is a sideshow, a very, very big sideshow. This was Wayne Williams' 15 minutes of fame. And I'm going to go over the evidence and show you the connections and connect the dots. Right now, I'm just giving you the summary. But I'll show you the evidence that Wayne Williams definitely killed all 29. There's doubt out there among the black community in Atlanta that he killed anybody. But I'm going to prove to you that Wayne Williams killed them all. And the reason he killed them all, because that would be the next logical step. Well, if he killed my son, why did he kill my son? He killed your son because your son was involved or knew about the child pornography ring. And Wayne Williams was either ordered to kill them or he did it to protect his own ass. I lean towards more he did it to protect his own ass. But then you got to ask yourself, what the hell does a rich mob pornography and drug dealer defense lawyer like Ed Garland, very wealthy, why is he defending this poor, black, indigent serial killer of children? Is it because he thinks it'll get him fame and get him more clients? Probably not. Probably not. This is a career killer. This is why Ed Garland stays in the background and pushes Mary Welcome forward. This is why his buddy, Axum, who will end up going to jail for laundering money for his clients and losing his law license, and also his other buddy, Fryer, who will also go to jail for laundering money for his mob clients and losing his license, pushes them to the front so he can direct from the back. Why in every case, from Wayne Williams' trial to his appeal to the Supreme Court case, is Ed Garland and his lawyers involved? Why is that? Again, he's not making any money off this case. It's not going to get him more high-paying drug and mob clients. There's got to be a fucking reason that he's doing it. It's not charity. There's no other case where he helped an indigent, where the Garland law firm helps an indigent client ever. Not ever, except for this case. And you got to wonder, when people do things that they normally wouldn't do, okay, and there's no money involved, there's got to be other reasons for them to do it. And I say it was blackmail. Got to be blackmail. Because people don't do things out of charity. Rich mob lawyer people like Ed Garland don't do things because the kindness of their heart. They reached out and decided to help this poor black indigent serial killer who's murdering children. This is a career killer. It's going to run clients away from you. It's not going to bring them in the door. So the question you have to ask yourself, my friends, is why? So back to Wayne Williams' house. So this is where it all happened. Okay. I believe there were two other locations where a lot of things happened, like the filming of the children for the pornography. Some of this occurred here, but I believe the majority of it either happened in safe houses owned by Jimmy Ginn, those ones I told you in Lakewood, or at 881, most likely 881 Memorial, where Profile Films distribution was located, all the way up to the 2000s or 1990s, I believe. And I'll get into that, how the FBI raided that warehouse about mid 80s, and they found adult pornography, and they also found child pornography in the very, very back. But because the informant hadn't been in that area, the judge threw it out because it wasn't listed in the warrant. The informant who'd gone in never saw the child pornography or the location where it was located. So they seized the child pornography, but Profile Modern Film stayed in business under the watchful eye of the FBI. All right. So this is Wayne Williams' house. This is where he brought them. I guess they bought this house in the 50s, late 50s, because Wayne is born here in 1958. In the 1969, 1970, they put in a unique type of carpet. Now, how this works is you got salesmen that are going down the road here, knocking door to door, and say, "Hey, ma'am, hey, sir," because most carpet lasts about 10 years. Okay, so right now it's 1970, 1971, and so that carpet is starting to wear out. They go in and say, "Hey, we can replace this carpet with this brand new type of carpet that'll last longer than 10 years. Very durable. It's a green type of carpet. It's a special carpet made by Weldman, and it was very, very unique. It was only in about, let's see how much time I got. This type of carpet sold in Georgia. It was made by West Point Pepper Mill up in North Carolina and sold at this carpet manufacturing place in Dalton. But only about 80 rooms of this carpet, this green carpet from Weldman, West Point Pepper Mill, was located in the entire state of Georgia. The entire state. That's 80 rooms. Okay. If you say that 4 rooms, 2 bedrooms, living room, den, were carpeted, you're only talking 20 homes. 20 homes, of which at least 5 of them have this green carpet in this neighborhood. At least 5. The police went around, the FBI went around and knocked on doors and took samples. So in this whole neighborhood, there were salesmen running around in the late 60s, early 70s, selling the carpet and having it installed, of which 5 out of the 20 homes in all of Georgia were right in this neighborhood. Okay? This carpet had a unique crimp in it. It was shaped like a crescent and had a little crimp in it. They put the crimp in it to get around the patent of the original people that came up with the crimp. The crimp, these were like little crescent hooks, and it would give the carpet more durability of people walking on it, not wearing it out. So when they found these fibers, the green carpet fibers, on about a third of the victims, okay, they had searched the Sanders brothers' house. They had searched Tom Terrell's house. They had searched Will Coxon, the pornographer's house. They every time they came across a suspect, they searched their house. They never ever found the green carpet with the little crimp in it. It was very, very rare. Now, the way this house is set up is you have a bedroom here. Behind that is a bathroom. Behind that is another room and another room. And then outside, there's like a built-on like tool shed. So Wayne Williams used the office for his management, and then the bedroom he had the bed in that had the violet acetate blanket. Now, violet acetate is royal purple, like a king, okay? Violet acetate on a blanket is similar in texture and feel to silk, but it's cheaper. It doesn't cost as much. So this tells you the mindset of Wayne Williams, that he saw himself as special as royalty, okay? Inside his bedroom was that green carpet. All over the house was the green carpet. Inside his bedroom, on the floor, they found burnt marks, like something hot had fell onto the carpet and melted the carpet. Most likely, those were heat lamps or not heat lamps, but those were the heat from some movie camera type lights. This is why I think that Wayne Williams was filming everything, okay? Either by himself or with the help of others like Nathaniel Cater, Jimmy Ray Payne, or even Homer Williams. Homer Williams was a photographer for the Atlanta Daily World. He had a dark room where he developed his own photos. The morning that Wayne Williams got stopped after that bridge, neighbors and police said they saw smoke coming from behind the house where Homer and Wayne were seen by witnesses burning something in the barbecue pit behind the house that morning. It never happened before. It only happened the same morning, within hours after Wayne getting stopped after that bridge. What were they burning? I believe that they were burning whatever photographs they had of victims, whatever notes they had of victims, okay? I don't think that Wayne kept, if he filmed anything or took photographs, I don't think he kept much at the house. I think he took it. So the relationship between Wayne Williams and Jimmy Ginn was most likely transactional. Jimmy Ginn ran the porn business for Thieves, who was in prison. Jimmy Ginn also ran the music studios and the movie distribution at 881 Memorial. I believe that Wayne Williams came in contact when he initially started his Nova Entertainment in 1977 with Jimmy Ginn at the music studios, when he was legitimately pursuing to create this music group. But because of that and his inexperience of doing that, it never happened. In 4 years of auditioning thousands of kids, Wayne would say, they never put together a group. They never wrote any music. They never recorded any music. They never pressed an album. They never signed a contract, a music contract. They never performed in a club. He had a group called Gemini, which was this rotating group of various different people. But he was constantly, always putting out flyers, putting out radio advertisements with the number that people would call to audition for Wayne. Okay? And this all occurred from right here. So I believe that when that never, or looked like it wasn't going to occur, Jimmy Jen saw all these kids coming in and somehow got a deal with Wayne that, hey, if you could get some pictures of these kids, I have a porn distribution network that you can make money doing. We distribute, and wherever there's a pornography industry, not that that's illegal or should be shut down, there's always attached with that, underneath it, underground, is child pornography. They kind of go hand in hand all the way across the country. And the leading distributor of child pornography at that time was the Gambino family out of New York, specifically a man named Dan Bernardo. He was like their guy for the pornography industry. He was good friends with Thieves until Thieves went to prison, and he still kept in contact with him and even had business relationships with him while Thieves was still in prison. And he would come to Atlanta. He would chat with Jimmy Jen. He would go visit Thieves. He would go visit Ed Garland. And they still were getting child pornography and pornography while Thieves was still in prison. And Jimmy Jen was the main person handling that on the outside. Okay? I believe that Wayne Williams, when he crossed paths with Jimmy Jen, this is where he gets involved with the children back in 1977. Eventually, you're going to have, kids that they're already doing things like at Tom Terrell's. They're already getting photos done with Will Coxon and other people. They're already prostituting themselves out. I'm not saying that all the victims were prostitutes. I'm just saying some were doing things for money, okay, that they shouldn't be doing. It's not much of a stretch for them to make a little extra money, $20, $30, come over to Wayne Williams, take your clothes off, let him take pictures and video of you or do stuff with you, or go over to the 881 Memorial and let them film you or take pictures of you over there. Nobody's got to know. No decent person in your community is going to know about that because they shouldn't be reading that, right? They shouldn't be buying that. But people do that. So no one's going to talk about seeing them in their community because they shouldn't be seeing that stuff in the first place, right? So it's all hush hush. But what I think happened is that some of them, as they got older, they realized it wasn't right. They shouldn't be doing that. They're being taken advantage of, or it wasn't enough money, or whatever the reason, and they threatened to tell, or maybe they told other kids about Wayne Williams, and Wayne couldn't afford to have that happening. So in this underground world among children and young adults, the adults really didn't know what was going on. It was just Wayne and them. And Wayne seemed like this legitimate music guy. That's all the adults knew. Okay? But some of them threatened to tell. Unless you give me more money, if you keep abusing me like this, I'm going to tell the police. I'm going to tell my daddy. I'm going to tell my mommy. I'm going to tell the principal. And Wayne couldn't afford to have that happen. He couldn't afford to have that all occur and everything fall apart. And besides, I think he started this as, okay, this is just something to pay the bills until we get this music thing going, until other things come along. This is just a stepping stone Sometimes you have to kiss the frogs before you find your prince, right? Or princess. We've all done crappy jobs. We've all done shitty jobs and worked for horrible bosses to pay the bills just to we could get down the road a little further. This is what I think the mindset started off with Wayne Williams. He also had mental problems. He had a dual personality, his Gemini personality. That's what he ends up calling this music group is Gemini. Wayne Williams was a Gemini, okay? Born at the end of May, beginning of June. Nathaniel Cater was a Gemini. Nathaniel Cater disappeared because in the astrological calendar, the first date of the astrological calendar begins at sunset of that date. So on the 21st at sunset after dark was the first day of the Gemini calendar. Nathaniel Cater was killed on the first night of the Gemini calendar. And whether you believe in all that stuff, I don't know. I don't care. I don't really believe in a lot of it. But all that matters is what the killer believes. And if he believed it had significance, then it did. There were many other victims that were Geminis. Okay? Every member of Wayne's group, Gemini, were Geminis. Jimmy Howard was a Gemini. Many other people were all Geminis. Gemini is an astrological sign of dual personalities, good and bad. At one moment, a Gemini could be normal and civilized, and the next moment, he could be violent and aggressive and a killer. We're going to come across testimony from one witness that said, he even mentions to them that he is a Gemini and that he has dual personality. At one moment, he could be nice, and the next moment, he could turn and be a completely different person. So Wayne Williams believed in this thing. He also could use it as an excuse. If I killed somebody, it wasn't me, it was my other personality, that dark personality. I'll go over psychology. In psychology, we all have, and I mix up these terms, it's called the id, the ego, and the superego. Okay? And I can't remember which ones are which, but one is your normal personality. You go around day to day, you obey the rules, you get along, yes, sir, officer, yes, sir, boss, and you plug along and you obey the rules. There's another part of you that it's like that little voice in your head that says, no, 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 that guy's a fucking asshole. It's what you really think deep down inside or what you really want to happen. I think that's called the id. And then there's the superego, the Jesus personality, the Mother Teresa personality, that you leave yourself behind and you serve the world. In between, it's like these two angels. You have your superego, your Mother Teresa Jesus personality, like this angel on the left shoulder. On the right shoulder, you have the id, the animal personality, the one that fights, the one that kills, the one that protects you, supposedly. Okay? This is what I think is going on in Wayne Williams' mind because he has this split. A lot of children that are molested have a split in personality to survive. And what happens when they get older, that id personality takes over and they no longer want to be the victim. They want to be the aggressor, the dominant force that went after them. Now they want to be that. And they look for victims like them when they were young and abused. And they relive the whole encounter. But this time, they are the dominant force. They're not the victim. Okay? That's another aspect that I think is going on with Wayne Williams is in these killings, he's reliving where he is now the master. He is not the victim. He is the hunter, not the hunted. This is what I think is going on with Wayne Williams. This is what I think is going on in this house. Now, just real quick, about to run out of time. In this house, in the front, was a living room, and then a kitchen behind that. There was a door back here. This driveway goes around. At that time, there was a fence line that went all the way around, all the way to the back and attached to the garage. There was ivy that grew up above people's heads. It was at least 10 feet high. So people would say, well, how could Wayne Williams bring all these kids here and kill them on the bed and no one ever see anything? Very simple. The kids sit in the car, they drive by, no one sees anything. They come at night. He gets out, they go around the house to the back, they go in the room. He does whatever. He kills them on the bed. He strangles them. And you see the progression of he tries choking them at first. He tries smothering with a pillow. He tries choking them with the crook of his arm. And then he finally settles on the garrote where he takes the rope, puts it around their neck, and crosses it in the back and strangles them. Some of them fight back. When you see victims that have been beat over the head or stabbed, they're usually the older victims, they fought back. When Wayne was caught, they found in the panels above his room a police slap. It's a leather type of half belt that sewn into each side are these little metal discs that the police would use to knock people over the head, to knock them out and not kill them. They also found a metal pipe in the side by the seat of his station wagon. He also had a gun in the house. The first victim, I'll get into the victims here coming up. The first victim was executed and shot. Almost all the other victims after that were killed on Wayne Williams' bed. In his room, he created a crime scene that he could sanitize. Instead of getting caught in some dead-end street or dragging people screaming and yelling into the woods to kill them, he killed them in his room, turned up the music, and strangled them. First, he brought them back and told them they were going to make some money. They did whatever they did on the bed, and he strangled them right there. He rolled the body onto the floor. On the bed, they had picked up the violet acetate fibers on their body. When he rolled the body onto the floor, it picked up the green carpet fibers. He rolled the bodies up into this yellow blanket, put them back into the car, took them and dumped them in the woods, and then eventually started dumping them in the river. Now, the reason he started dumping them in the river in November is because in October, it leaked that the police were finding fibers on the bodies. Fibers from this violet acetate blanket that the police didn't know was on Wayne Williams' bed, and from the green carpet that they didn't know was on Wayne Williams' floor, and from carpets from the white blanket, the yellow blanket, and from the carpet in the cars, the various different cars that Wayne Williams had, of which there are about 5 or 6. So we run out of time. That is the murder house of the Atlanta Monster right there. And we will pick up and start going into the victims. And I'll read through the Wikipedia case, and then I'll go over each victim in a summary real quick. And then eventually I'll go back and give you all the evidence that I have on each victim when I make a pass through. All right, so take care, and we will keep going. And a lot of the people may be seeing this. It may seem like repeat, and it is. I'm recapping for those who don't know to get it on the record, okay, for everyone to watch from now on. And we'll keep moving forward and setting it up case by case, victim by victim, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month by month. All right, take care. Have a good one.